dreaded sunny days, so I meet you at the Cemetry Gates. Keats and Yates are on your side.
I'm Jake.
I'm Tom.
And we are BIMTV, Velocities in Music. Today, this is the second album on our set of 6 that we're filming. All throwbacks. And right now, we're taking a cruise over to the UK. We're going to do 4 British albums right in a row. And we're going to do them in chronological order. To start it off, we're going to do The Smiths, The Queen is Dead. This is an album that, when Tom and I started commuting down to Des Moines together every day, Tom showed me and said he'd been really into it. And I was like, it's an album that I had listened to before, but never had really dug into. So I was like, hey, let's review it. And it is one that I really attached to right away. And I think obviously, I really like Radiohead, Blur, and clearly they were influenced by the Smiths. This is their 3rd album, came out in 1986, and you hear a lot of the first thing that you notice when you listen to The Queen is Dead is Morrissey's vocals. I mean, it's just blatant. He's so eccentric, and just how he approaches his vocals is really what does it for me, and it's my #1 feature of this album.
Yeah. He's such a unique presence, right, in the world of frontmen. I mean, his lyrics are fun. They go from very serious and deep to just lighthearted and goofy and quirky.
Yeah.
In the same song, within like 2 lines, and yet somehow he makes it flow and makes you get on board with all sentiments.
It's endearing.
Yeah,
it's
very
endearing.
much so.
And plus, his vocal melodies don't really mesh with the songs at all. Like, they're in the same key, but it's a whole beast of its own. And it's crazy how that works, because another thing that I like about this album is the guitar melodies are really strong. There's a ton of really great guitar
Johnny
work
Marr
here.
is the man.
Right, and the way that the guitar and the bass works together is quite, it's a very tight kind of, they're just kind of wrapped around each other. So you have the guitar and the bass operating over here, and then Morrissey doing his thing, and it creates a lot of dimensions to listen to, and it's a really appealing sound. Another thing that this album that really stood out to me was a lot of forward-thinking songwriting. These guys were ahead of their time. A lot of MIDI sound effects that they use, specifically the backing vocals that they'll use in like the chorus hooks behind Morrissey. You have these contorted, kind of high-pitched vocals behind Morrissey, kind of just accents some of the lines that he says, really drawing out that vocal presence even more. It's something that I really like. Tom, what was your take on this?
Well, kind of developing from there with how this songwriting really was ahead of its time. I mean, you have these songs that they're definitely catchy, they're definitely memorable, but they don't actually, I think, rarely follow like a verse-chorus structure. Right. Instead of using the chorus, there'll be kind of more of like a short refrain where he will, say the name of the song. It happens in Never Had No One Ever, even Cemetry Gates.
It's Cemetry.
Cemetry Gates.
Sorry.
So I'm not British enough. But like tracks like that, he'll sing the title of the song, and it'll make it very memorable, but it's not necessarily an entire fleshed out chorus. Right. So you get a lot of those, and it works wonderfully throughout this album. But really, I mean, when you break it down to just the instrumentals are fantastic. I mean, the guitar work Johnny Marr was a pioneer in what's today, considered that British kind of crunch. I mean, some people had done it before, but he really took it to the next level. And but really, like you said, Jake, Morrissey. I mean, God, these songs could have been taken from the brilliant music compositions. They could have been taken in any direction, and Morrissey knew exactly what to do with them for the vocals. And to me, that is just the pinnacle of brilliant songwriting and a great album.
Really, there's only one thing that I want to comment on for as far as true criticisms go, and that's, there's a couple tracks on here. I'll go ahead and point them out. Track 4, Never Had No One Ever, and track 7, The Boy with the Thorn in His Side, where I feel like those tracks are just a little weaker than the rest. And
like they're still really good, but they don't quite live up to some of the more standout tracks on here.
And to me, that's just kind of what brings it down a notch for me. It's such a short album, only 10 tracks. Not. I think this maybe crawls over 30 minutes.
Yeah,
it gets in 30, 40.
Yeah, it does.
Range.
It's somewhere in there.
So
30, 40.
I just feel like when you have a shorter album, there's more emphasis on all the songs being a higher quality. You can't have any loose ends. And while I do feel those tracks are a little weaker, like you said, the album as a whole is still very good. Anything else you want to throw in?
No, I'm
thinking I'm around a 90 on this one. I really enjoyed it.
I'm going 93. I love this album.
Now, have you guys listened to the Smiths? I mean, clearly they've influenced a lot of music, so we definitely recommend going back and checking them out, specifically The Queen is Dead, because it's kind of their magnum opus of an album. Leave us a comment on your thoughts at www.velocitiesinmusic.com or youtube.com/velocitiesinmusic. As always, please follow us on Twitter, like us on Facebook, and just get involved with the conversation. We love talking about music on the social networks. I'm Jake.
I'm Tom.
And we are VIMTV, moving music critique forward.
Fame, fatal fame.